the kids so that she could,
I mean, I'm
and
traveling. Okay.
and what did she do? She showed
There was our things.
a curling high
Very
for
nice.
100 and like almost 200.
No,
Mario.
it was a very busy day, right?
He's selling. He's trying to make a commission
There's
but she's a
something in the
moron.
background.
because
It was a very busy
for $20.
day worldwide, no?
Say that again, Mario.
It was a busy day in Israel,
Yes.
in the war.
Yeah. What was going on?
Well, I read that an American plane was shot down over Iran.
Yes.
A helicopter was damaged, but they managed to show it ready. But then in Petah Tikva and in
it wasn't his
Haifa and somewhere, they couldn't stop the rockets.
One time, me and my mommy went to New York.
But I don't know if
we're taking the subway.
how accurate that
The
is.
guy tried to say he'll give us
You know,
cash.
I guess
Mario,
if we
there's
give him
something
our
is
petrol.
talking in the
We'll
background.
switch off, like you
Yeah.
give me this much, I'll give you that.
I'm in the sea. Okay. We are in the car, that's why.
I see.
Okay. Just on the way home.
You cheered for any.
Is this a recap of everything from Hug?
Okay. So we left off
Meeting for the first time after
on
they meet their
80.
They're doing everything from every day.
Daf Pei.
This is a longer one today.
Few lines from the top. Itmar Nami. Amrav Yitzchak Bar Yosef Amrav Yikla. Chilufei Toida Nedava. That if somebody is donating the Korban Toda and the Korban was lost and you had to choose another one, we say that the replacement one, Ben Lifnei Kapor, Ben Lacha Kapor Tuna Lechem. You haven't chosen one of the two animals yet. The one you choose will require lechem, whether you shechted the first one or not, because it's considered mar b'betoidesu. It's considered like a person, instead of donating one korban toda, you donate many. However, vlad toides nadava, if it was a child of one of the animals, bein lifnei kapor ben lacha kapor ein torn lechem. Because it's moiser de toidehu. That does not require lechem. Because it's not considered marbe betoides. It's considered sort of extra, something left over. Uvlad toida choiva. If you have a korban toda chova, so not a donative toda, but a toda that you have to bring. So then it depends. Lifnei kapora tu'un lechem. If you had not shechted either of the animals, then it requires lechem. Lacha kapora, but if you'd already shechted it, the other animal, and then you come to shecht, this one ain't tu'un in lechem. That sort of summarizes the halacha. Amar Shmuel. New concept. Kol shebechatos meisa. There are 5 types of korban chatos that have to be put to death. For example, somebody designates an animal to be a chatos and then dies. That's one of the examples where the chatos has to be put to death. Shmuel says any time that the chatas has to be put to death, if it would be a toda, ein tu'un lechem. That situation that arises regarding a korban toda also would not require lechem. Kol shebechatas roye, there are examples where somebody designated a korban chatas, and then the animal has to be put to grazing until it gets a mum. In such a situation, betoda to una lechem. If that situation happened to a korban toda, you would bring the breads. Mostly for Vamram. Mahu oimer hatoida yakriv. The pasuk says hatoida yakriv. It teaches us minayin lemafresh toidoso. Someone designated an animal to be his korban toda. Ve'ovda ve'hifrish acheres tachtel. It got lost, and you designated another animal. V'nimtzeis harishona. The first animal is found. V'arein shtein oimdois. And both animals.
Sorry, I
Hi.
came a bit late.
We're on
Ernie, where are we holding? Sorry.
pay,
Yeah,
Amid Aleph, I don't know, maybe 10 lines down.
thank you.
We have somebody designated a korban toda. It got lost. You designated another animal in its place. And then you found the first one. So you have A and B. And now you have both of them in front of you. From where do we know that you can choose any of the two animals and be makrivit, and you bring the lechem? Talmud Lomer hatoida yakriv. I might think that the second animal, when you sacrifice it, would also require breads. Talmud Lomer yakrivenu echad v'lo shnai. Only one, not two. Now, ilu gavichatis, ki haigavna roa. This example, if we had it by a korban chatas, the animal would be put to graze. The second one. Now, Shmuel just told me a principle. Any chatas that is put to graze, you would, if it would be by a toda, you would bring lechem. So the following Mishnah, therefore, is going to be a stira to the din in Shmuel. This not. Hifrish chatoso v'ovda. A person ate chaylev. He's required to bring a korban chatas. He designated animal A, and it got lost. V'hifrish acheres tachteh. He finds animal B, and he's magdish it as a chatas. V'nimtzes harishona. And he finds animal A. He has both of the animals in front of him. Miskapir ba'achas mehen ushnia tamus divrei Rebbe. According to Rebbe, one of them is offered, the other one is put to death. Chachamim oimrim ein chatas mesa ela shenimtzes la'achar shniskapu bailim. The Chachamim agree that if the bailim had sacrificed animal A, and only then you found, had sacrificed animal B, the one that, the replacement one, and only then he had found animal A, then yes, they agree that it would be put to death. But hakoidem shniskapu bailim, but if animal A was found before you had offered animal B, and now you have both of them in front of you and you choose, then one of them you offer, the other one is roeh. So this is an example where it doesn't fit this principle of Shmuel that only echad gets lechem. So the Gemara says, obviously, Shmuel karebi svira law. The Shmuel doesn't hold like the Chachamim that said it would be roeh. He holds like the Mesa one, which, according to his rule, would not bring lechem. The Omer Avuda b'shas afrosa Mesa. So the Gemara wants to know ela roeh l'Rabbi hechi mishkachas lo. According to Rebbe, where he says that the second animal is always put to death, when is there going to be an example of a chatas that sends out to roya? Kid Rabbi Shia, Dam Rabbi Shia, different. Not that he designated one animal and then it got lost, but initially he designated two animals. Now, why would someone designate two animals? La'achrayus. Achrayus means like an insurance policy, that just in case one of his animals dies or gets lost or whatever the problem is, he has another animal to be mafresh. That's different than when it's done sequentially, that you mafresh one, and then it gets lost, and you mafresh the second. Here, even Rebbe will hold, or the Gemara is arguing that Rebbe holds like Rabbi Shia, that if you have both of these animals, miskaper be'ez men she'ir tzevashniya tira. This would be the example for Rebbe of the chatas that's sent to graze to get a mum. Now, in that kind of case, in a toda, if you were mafresh two animals be'achrayus, would also be ein tu'un alechem. El Shmuel Krab Shimon Svirli. The Omer chamesh chatas meses. According to Rab Shimon, there are 5 examples of a chatas where the animal has to be put to death. And one of them is where the animal was designated lost, and it was found before either any of the animals had been makrid. And then the other case is the one where there would be like two, you were mafresh two. I've royal Rab Shimon Leslie Klal. Well, therefore, according to Rab Shimon, we don't have an example of any chatas that goes liberia. So Shmuel Nami Chodaka Amar. So Shmuel really only elucidated one concept. Kol shebechatas mesa besoide ein tulecha. Any example that by a chatas would be put to death, if the same example occurred by a korban toda, he would not bring bread. And my kamash malon lafukim Rav Yechna. The Omar Adam iskaper b'shvach hegdesh, that according to Rav Yechna, a vlad is considered shvach hegdesh. Hegdesh that sort of grew. The growth is the vlad. Now he holds that it would still require lechem. So Shmuel is saying, Kamash Malon the law, that he doesn't agree with Rav Yochanan that a vlad would not require lechem. Rav Abba, zu toda v'zu lachem. A person designates an animal for the korban toda, and he also designates the bread. Ovad alechem. Now, and he hasn't shechted anything yet. And then he loses the breads. Maybe lechem acher. At that point, he can designate it another 40 loaves, and he can go on. However, of the toida, ena mevi toida acheres. Once the breads are connected to a specific animal, and you lose the animal, you can't designate a new animal and attach it to the old breads. You have to start from scratch. My time, lechem liglal toida. The bread is secondary to the toda. Ve'ein toda liglal lechem. The toda does not get dragged, sort of connected to the lechem. Amar Rava, hifrish ma'os l'soidosa. Now Rava brings the concept of designating money, not the animal itself. You designated $1,000 with the purpose you were going to buy your korban with the money. Vinitvatru, the animal only cost $800. So you have $200 remaining. Maybe bohen lechem. So that money, which was used to buy the animal, if there's extra money left, you can use to buy the bread. Now, if you designated money to buy the bread, the lachme toida v'nisvatru, ein bevi b'hem toida. Let's say the bread, you also thought cost $1,000. And and you were mafresh $1,000, and the bread only cost you $800, and you have 200 left, you can't use the extra money that you designated for the breads to buy the animal. My time. Why? Are you going to tell me it's according to Rav Kahana? Rav Kahana. Minayin lelachmei toda. Shenikru toda. How do I know that the breads themselves are called the toida? Shenemar v'hikriv al zevach hatoda chalos matzos. So if you're going like Rav Kahana, that the breads themselves are called the toda, yachi ibchanami. It should be either one. Whether I designated the money for the animal, or I designated the money for the chalois, the extra money should go for the opposite, because they're both called a toda. So the Gemara says, no, lechem ikri toida. The lechem is called a toida, but toida lo ikri lechem. The animal sacrifice is not called lechem. Lo amarava. Hifrish toida ve'ovda. You were mafresh animal A for korban toda. V'chazer v'hifrish acheres tachtea ve'ovda. Then you designated animal B, and it got lost. So now both A and B are lost. Now you designated animal C. The nimtzes harishonos, then animal A and B are found. All three are standing in front of him. What's the din? Niskaper b'rishoina. If he is miskaper, if he shechts animal A, shnia eina tu'una lechem, shlish is tu'una lechem. The replacement for A, which was B, but not C, because C was the replacement for B. So the one that's connected to A, you don't bring lechem. But 3 basically is independent, stands on its own. Now, niskaper b'shlishis, if he had A, B, and C in front of him, and he shechted C, fine. That one certainly requires lechem. The shnia eina te'una lechem, because 3C was the backup for 2, but rishona te'una lechem. But the first one stands on its own, and you'd bring the 40 loaves. Now, what if you decided to shecht animal B, be'emtsois? So neither A nor C would require lechem, because both A and C were directly connected to B, right? So shtein ein tunas lechem. However, Abaya argues with Rava. Abaya Omar, afilu niskaper be'achas mehen. I don't care which animal you shecht, whether it's A, B, or C, the remaining animals, shtein ein tunas lechem, kulu chalifin dadarinu. We all mix them up. They're all considered replacements. And replacement toidas do not require lechem, says Abaya. Rab Zera. V'chein le'inyan chatas. Rav Zera is going to say that this concept that we just learned about A, B, and C is going to hold by korban chatas as well. Let's go through it. Hifrish chatoso. Person ate chaylev, and now is obligated to bring a chatas. And he designates animal A, the ovda, it got lost. He needs to bring a chatas. So hifrish acheres tachtea. He designates animal B, the ovda, it got lost. The hifrish acheres tachtea, and he now designated animal C. The nimtzar rishonos, and then all 3 were found, and none of them had been shechted yet. Darei shloshton omdos, and he has to choose niskape b'rishona. If he chooses A and he shechts it, so B, which was a direct replacement of A, Tamus, puts to death like the chatas shemesu. Shlishi is tira. We're more lenient with the third one because it's more distant. It's less of a direct replacement for A. So that chatas, instead of being put to death, gets sent to graze. until it gets a mum, and then you redeem it. Niskaber b'shlishis. If you decided to use animal C as your chatas and shechted, shnia tamus. The second, because C was a direct replacement of B. But Rishona Tira, the Rishona is far enough away from C that also doesn't have to be put to death. You can allow it to graze. Then, Niskaper B'emtsois, if he decided to shecht the middle one, Shtean Yamusu, both A and C have to be put to death. But Abaya Omar, the same way that he argued by the Korban Toda, that Afilu Niskaber B'achos, man, we don't care, A, B, or C. No matter if you shecht any of them, the one that gets shechted is fine, but Shtean Yamusu, the other two get put to death because Kulu Chalip and they're all considered replacements, period. Now, Rav Zera said, V'chein le'inyan chatas. So too does this apply regarding korban chatas. What's the chein? Because Ma'od is saying, there's a svara. Because by a korban toda, a very wealthy person who has been saved from an illness, instead of bringing one toda, he brings 10 todos. You're allowed to be magnanimous and generous, invite even more people to your Suda, and it's called riboy betoidos. So maybe there we're lenient regarding the breads. By korban chatas, there's no concept of marbe b'chatas. You're required to bring one korban from kapara. There's no concept of, I'm going to bring more. Maybe emelo. Maybe there wouldn't be the leniency. Kamash Malon, that there is the leniency. That there are cases of chatas that would be grace. Okay. Tani Rabchia. Toidish nis arve b'tmurasa. We've mentioned tmura. Tmura is a process by which you have a hegdish animal in front of you, and you bring another animal that's not hegdish. You have it stand next to it. And let's say the first animal is an ola. And I point to the new animal, I say, I want this animal to be a tmura of the first animal. So the new animal becomes an ola as well. That's how you make a tmura. So let's say you made a tmura of a korban toda. You had designated an animal to be a korban toda, and you made a tmura of it. Toilish nisavre petmura, so. And it got mixed up with its tmura. So we don't know which one is the toda and which one is the tmura. Umesa. Now, one of them died. Now, we don't know, is it the toda, the original toda that died, or the tmura that died? Chaverta ein lo takana. So the other animal, there's nothing for us to do. In the end, that means you also put it to death. So, because heichi navid, nakriv lechem bada, a tmura's toda does not get lechem. So if we shecht one of them, dilma tmurahi. So we wouldn't be able to be makriv the lechem. Lo nakriv lechem bada. And if we didn't designate lechem and makriv it, dilma toida, maybe it is a toida. There's no toida unless you bring lechem with it. Now the Gemara continues the hypothetical case. Hechidomi. Ida Amar Alai. If initially a person had said, Hare Alai Toda, I am accepting a personal responsibility to bring a korban toda. Lo sagid lo ma'aseh lebehem achrin of alechem. So, in such a case, if you said to an animal, Hare zu toda, so there you got to bring that animal. But if you created a personal hischayvus, then you could bring another animal. You would be required to bring another animal with its lechem. And how would you get around the problem? Lema, you would say, if this animal is the tmura hatoida, he would say that this new animal, hatoida valachma, is like a moiser toida, and he would bring both. But if the first one was a toida, halachma, here is its bread, and the new animal or the additional animal is just the guarantee that I separated for the first animal. So, lo tzricha dam harezu in a chanami. If you did it b'harei alai, it would work. But we're talking about a case that was harezu. If you said this specific animal, then I have no way out if I find both of them. Simin. These are mnemonics. The students, some say it's Levi, said in front of Rebbe. He tried to give another solution. Let him bring the breads for Lema. If the one that still remains, right? Because one of the animal died. He had two, the Toda and its Tmura. One of them died. So if the one that remains is the original Toda, halachma, here's its bread. And ilo, if the one that remains is the Tmura, lepuk l'chulin. Let the lechem not be hukdash anymore. Let it be considered chulin. Well, that can't work. How can we bring chulin into the azara? Okay, Levi continues. Let him bring another animal with loaves. If the first one that died was the tmur hatoid of halach, here is a new toda and it's lechem. But if the person, and you'd have an extra one, if the one that died was a toida, now this one is a tmura halach mavahatev ishlamim. Here's bread for the first one, and this one should be a regular shlamim that doesn't need lechem. But you cannot eat this animal beyond 1 day. And a shlamim is normally eaten for 2 days. So your Rebbe says, the part that ein lo takana, you can't do it, you can't minimize the number of days of eating a korban that you're technically allowed to eat. Let him bring another animal with its loaves, v'lema. Ihach the kamaisa tmura, if the animal that remains was the tmura, so ha-toda, v'ha-lachma. So here's the toda, and the lachma, it fulfills the obligation originally that I had to bring a korban toda. V'hai the kaimatoida, if the one that died was the tmura, and this animal that remains is the toda, so ha-lachma v'ha-tavi moiser toida. So here's the original breads, and the other one would be breads that would be extra. And I can bring, like I'm a wealthy man, I'm bringing multiple toidos. Rabbi Yehuda says, I think Levi, it's referring to the one who was talking to him, he doesn't have a brain in his skull. A moiser, something that's left over. You can't lechatchila separate something lemoiser. Lemoiser has to happen naturally, that I separated two and one is left over. But to call it a moiser, when I initially only designated one, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. So, tomorrow, okay, tonight is Motzei Shabbos for you. No. correct?
Yes.
Yes, Ernie.
Okay.
Ernie, how was Yontif, first of all?
First of all, Yontif was beautiful. Second of all, those of you who made comments, because we had a party for me last night for my birthday. It was
Happy
really-
birthday. I didn't see the comments.
Well, you made videos.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
beautiful. It was very heartfelt and beautiful. And I really
But your
appreciate
birthday is next week, right?
I know, but they did it. I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be home next Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to make another birthday on Friday for us for the year.
Well, we'll do a big Rebbe told me I have to make a Suda. Apparently, Abaya or one of the Amiroim made a Suda when he turned 70. And he told me I have to get 10 men and make a Suda. So I may do that, and I'll let you guys know. I got to get home and get my bearings, and then we'll talk about that. And I'll find out exactly when we're going to do that. I'm going to do it by my Hebrew birthday, not by my English birthday is next week. So we'll see.
Enjoy Hebrew birthday.
So one question. My Hebrew birthday is Chav Tes Nisan. So it's a week after Pesach. Let me ask a question. 9
That's your
o'clock.
birthday, by the way.
9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You want to learn? Or just we should learn at 9 o'clock tomorrow night?
No, but you're traveling tomorrow night, right?
No. My flight got moved from Sunday night to Monday night.
Tomorrow is Sunday, yeah.
Tomorrow is Sunday. By the way, they moved it to, initially our flight was 11 o'clock. They moved it to 4 a.m. So they keep on pushing it later. So we arrive at 9:30, Mirz Hashem. Not early in the morning like normally the El Al flight is. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Okay, so do we want to have a shiur at 9 in the morning or just do it at 9 at night?
I don't have a problem.
Walter, you playing?
Probably playing, but I'm not sure. Probably playing.
Okay, let's make it for 9 o'clock at night. Okay? Let's just do it 9 o'clock at night, tomorrow night, like regular time.
Okay.
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 Shkoyach.
Have a
Bye.
good
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
Chol Hamoed.
Good morning.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.